What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him.
Minneapolis's Democratic mayor was blunt on his reaction to that assessment.
Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed.
What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life.
This is just the latest confrontation between the federal government and Democratic-led states. The fear is that the fury on the streets could now boil over.
And so if he sees large-scale protests, he will no doubt say, this is what I have warned about.
Right. You're raising your eyebrows, Sir Jake Berry.
Well, it's very hard to know what happened in Minneapolis, and if people saw the full clip, I appreciate for completely understandable reasons the BBC didn't want to share that. It is certainly not clear to me the criminality of this or not, as the case may be. And I think the point that Mark makes, I think, is really important, that we don't rush to judgment on it. What I'd say more widely is, while the actions of ICE, particularly removing people who were in the United States illegally, is very controversial in some democratic cities, largely democratic cities, it is widely supported across the United States and is credited, whether it's correct or not, as part of the reason that President Trump won that historic mandate for his second term. So, you know, I think to some extent, the action of ICE, of the Republicans and President Trump will say is publicly supported, is justified. I don't think anyone, whichever side of the political divide that they sit on, would have wanted to see this sort of appalling loss of life in a city that, you know, just over 5 years ago had a similar incident with George Floyd when he was murdered.
But when you bring the border to the streets, particularly when those streets have guns and where law enforcement of whatever agency are walking around with guns, you're creating a certain level of risk. And that's something that we should be aware of, even here in the UK, when people make arguments for an ICE-type operation on the streets of London instead of at the port of Dover or whatever. And I just think that's something to just be concerned about and aware of.
This is a very controversial method of removing people who should not be in America. However, President Trump has also got illegal migration down to 0 on the southern border. So 0 people, having been millions of people under Biden. Why? Because this is a deterrent. This is a massive deterrent in the way that we don't have such a thing. So even though the border is enforced, yes, and that is one of the reasons people aren't coming in, those people who might want to go into America illegally are watching footage like this and knowing that they're probably going to be on the losing side.